Hi there, my name's Vince from mymatevince.com, and in this video today it's going to be another trying to fix video, and this one's come all the way from the Netherlands. So I've got to be careful because there's addresses all over this thing. So this was sent to me by a guy called Tex, and he said that something is not working properly. So let me show you what it is. Now the reason I'm looking forward to doing this one is because I do have one of these and I think it's a great little system. Right, here we have it. Ta-da! The PSP Go. Let me just make sure there's nothing else in this bag here. No, right, okay, so apparently the problem with this one is that you can't see what's going on the screen, but yet if you shine a light into it, apparently you can see it in the background. So it looks like it's the backlight that's gone. I must say he's kept it in very good condition. It's nice to see this original box and everything. Right, okay, that's that. Let's see if there's any charge left in it. So apparently he's taken this apart, but he didn't really do much with it. He just, wanted to see if all the cables were connected and stuff, and they were. I haven't seen a white one of these before, and it kind of, yeah, look, it's like metallic. I don't know if you can see that. Look, can you see it's like sparkling there? Very fancy. Well, okay, let's turn it on and see what we have. Might not have anything at all. The battery might be completely flat. Yeah, I think the battery's completely drained on this. Right, let me get my charger, plug it in, give it a bit of juice, and then we'll turn it on and see if we can see what the fault is. Okay, so I've got my charger here. I'm just going to plug it in. Let's see if it starts charging up. Yes, it is, yeah. Right, let's see if there's enough in it to turn it on. There is. Right, but we can't see anything. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a torch or a flashlight, and I'm going to shine it in here and see if I can then see. Can't see anything at all. It's definitely working. I can't see anything. Well, I'm just going to take it off the camera for a minute, just have a good look through with my own eyes rather than through the viewfinder to see if I can see what's going on. Okay, so I've been looking with this light here and with the torch as well, and personally I can't see anything, but maybe if you were to go out in direct sunlight you might be able to see anything, but all I can see is a reflection. So I don't know, maybe the screen's faulty. Going by what he said, I thought when I googled it, it was just going to be fuses, because he said that when you look through it with a light on, that you can actually see the image. It's just there's the backlight's gone. Yeah, now if it is that, from what I've read, it's normally the fuses that have failed. But I'm not so sure about this one. So what we're going to do is let's take it apart and let's see if there's something obvious. Maybe there is a cable that's come off that Tex didn't see, maybe he missed it or something, or maybe since then it's come apart, or who knows. Let's take it apart and let's see what's going on with it. Right, so I'm going to take out the charger for it. Let's turn it off. There we go. So I can see 4 screws at the back here. I've never taken one of these apart, and Tex is under no illusion that there's a good chance I'm not going to be able to fix this. So the agreement we've come to is he sends it to me. If I can fix it, fair play, I'll send it back. If I can't fix it, then I'm just going to buy it off him for £30, because then I've got something that I can use for spares for fixing up future ones along the line, because I do actually really like the PSP Go. And I've got a couple of PSPs, but out of all of them I really like the Go, because then if I'm ever going up London and I'm going on the tube train for a night out, then for me I really like playing this on the tube train, and it doesn't seem too intrusive. It's not like everybody's looking at you, it's just nice and small. It just looks like you're playing on your phone. So I think it's good. And once you put custom firmware onto here, it's brilliant because it's really easy to do. And then, for example, you can put all your old Mega Drive games and stuff on here, so it's good. Now, in case you haven't seen my videos before, I am definitely not a professional when it comes to these things, far from it. That's the purpose of these videos. It's trying to fix, to see if just a normal person can do it, rather than somebody that does it for a living, or rather than somebody that does, you know, has been doing it all their life. So in a lot of these things I end up making mistakes, I end up breaking it, but just take it as more entertainment rather than how-to guide. I mean, obviously I would do my best to fix it, but it doesn't always go to plan. Maybe I have to undo these top ones before the back comes off. So PSP basically stands for PlayStation Portable. And although the PSP Go wasn't really a success, because beforehand they used to take UMD discs, so there was like physical little discs that you used to slot into the back. With this one it was digital only, and a lot of people didn't like that. But obviously now with the custom firmware, these things are a bit of a winner. And here we go. There we go. Right. Oh, nice. Oh, I like the look of the inside of this one. This thing looks perfect. Right, okay, so I think I want to basically just dismantle it all to kind of get to the screen area. So the fuses are going to be on the main board, and I'm thinking they're under one of these shielded bits here. I can't remember, I've got to go online and have a look. But I just want to work out where the ribbon cable is that connects the actual screen to the main board. So I'm going to dismantle it further. Right, okay, first things first, it'd be best to disconnect the battery. There we go. Right, so it should be safe to work on now. Okay, so it looks like this is the connector for the screen. I mean, it's definitely connected, so I don't think there's any problem there. Right, okay, well what I'm going to be doing is, I'm still pretty sure that it could be a fuse problem, so I'm going to be testing the fuses on it first. I think that would be the best place to start. I'm going to check online now just to double check where these fuses are. Just noticed that there does seem to be a kind of indentation here. Looks like it might have had a bit of a whack at some stage. Right, okay, so I've been Googling it, and this is sort of one of the pictures, and it just says here that, it says, here we go. This was the blown fuse on my console, replaced it and it worked just fine. Unfortunately, it's the most difficult fuse to get to, requiring you to carefully remove the metal shielding, but replacing it will fix the backlighting. Now, other people are saying it's other fuses, but I've, you know, so there's another fuse here, there's another fuse over here as well, and then there's another website. So the website here is called, let me just show you. Right, so that's one of the websites, so you can make a note of that. And then the other one is this one here. and again it's got a load more pictures with the possible locations of the fuses. So I'm not 100% sure about this, but I think I'm going to go with the one under here to begin with, this one here, and then I can see what it's testing. I'm thinking that if I put the multimeter both sides, then if it shorts, then I'm hoping that fuse is okay. If it's not shorting, then it says to me that maybe that fuse has gone. Now it looks like, to get the shielding off here, because the pictures I've seen look like all the metal casings still on the bottom, so I'm hoping that I'll be just able to kind of pop them off. So let's see what happens. Yeah, look, easy. You know what, I'm going to take them all off. Oh wow, it is hard to get to. Right, okay, so I'm thinking, looking at the picture, that it's going to be this little thing all the way up here. Right, so this one up here. I'm going to start with that, just to see what happens. Now I'm hoping it's just a case of just using the multimeter, but I'm just thinking, I'm going to check for continuity, but the problem with that is, if I was to go across here, could it be possible that there could be continuity elsewhere on the board that would also make it sound like there is continuity when there wasn't? Not sure. So obviously if the fuse was out in my hand, then 100% if you went across it and you got like a reading on ohms or on continuity, then that would say that the fuse is either, the fuse is okay, and if there was nothing, that it would be blown. But when it's in the board, I'm not 100% sure if it's a reliable way of testing it. Well, I think to do this, because I can't really see, I'm going to use the macro feature on the camera. Right, okay, so I did the classic Vince thing there, which is basically I put it on macro, and every time you put it on macro on this camera you have to stop recording, and then I didn't record it again. So basically, let me just talk you through what I did, because the last 15 minutes was spent with me talking to a camera that wasn't recording. So basically what I did is I put my meter onto continuity, and then I went across this fuse here that was supposed to be the one for the backlight, and if you have a listen, you can see there that there is continuity. Now, with this shielding in place, I couldn't get a good reading, so what I had to do is just cut the shielding away so I could get reading to it. Now, because that one was testing okay, I went and tested all the other fuses on the board, so let me show you where they are. So there's another one here, and again, this was testing okay. And do you remember I said I was slightly worried, because if I had the fuse out, I know 100% I had to test it, but in the board I was worried that it could be getting continuity from elsewhere. But thinking about it, that doesn't make sense, does it? Because that's exactly what the fuse is for. If there was continuity elsewhere, then even if the fuse blows, the continuity is going to go from elsewhere, so that's impossible. So now I'm 100% sure that by just doing this, that does prove to me that this fuse is okay, because this must be the only path. So there was that one there. Let me show you the other ones that I tested. There was one here. There. There is one down here. Yeah. And then there is one here. That's okay. I'm not sure if it's it was circled both of these, but they're both testing okay. And then if we flip it over, there was some more. So up here, it was this one here. There, and also up here as well. As you can see, they're all testing okay, and as far as I know, that's all the fuses on the board. So I'm as I was saying in the bit that wasn't filming, I was a little bit disappointed because I was sure it was going to be a fuse. Now, the way people fix it is they just use solder to bridge over it, which obviously is wrong, because the fuse is there for a reason. It's to protect something. So what I would have done is I would have just taken out the fuse, and then I would have bought one from like CPC or Farnell, something like that, and then I would have just put it in, and I was hoping it was going to be that. Now, because I haven't actually seen, I don't know that this is a backlight problem. I didn't verify that I could see the actual screen working. I can hear it all working, but as far as I'm concerned, it could be a screen issue, or it could be a flex cable issue that feeds the screen, or it could be the connector here. It could be many different things. So I have got a PSP Go, so I think what I'm going to do is, rather than just order up a new screen here, because the screen might be perfectly fine, I'm going to waste my money. If it's a faulty flex cable, I don't want to order a new screen. So I think I'm going to use my PSP Go, take it apart, and then I'm going to use the different parts from it because I know my one works fine, and then hopefully I will be able to verify what the actual fault is. So that's what I'm going to do now. Okay, so here you can see my one, and mine's the black one, but it's working absolutely fine. Always had to, never had a problem with it. So I'm going to take this apart, swap things around, and see if I can find out what the problem is. Actually, I just want to try something before I take it apart further. There is a button up here that you're supposed to press when it goes onto the TV. I'm just going to, because these can output to the TV, which is really good. So I'm just going to press that button now and see what happens if the screen goes off. Oh, it does, doesn't it? And you can still hear it. Oh no, it's back again. Okay, so it goes off. So that's the brightness, and also... Oh no, that's just brightness. How did I... Let me hold it down. Right, now let's see if it comes back on. Oh, it comes back on when you move it, and I was moving it around, so it can't be that. I was just wondering whether it had accidentally been pressed and maybe it had never been pressed again to take it off. Yeah, it comes back on every time you move it around, so no, it can't be that one. Worth a try though. Oh, it seems a shame to take my void sticker off, doesn't it? Oh. Okay, needs must. See how easy it would be if you did have to change the headphone jack. No problem at all. Or the analog stick. Really simple. Right, so I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this motherboard into here and then see what happens. I'm not going to put all the shielding back on just yet. Right, I'm not going to put it all back together. I'm just going to do it like this. See what happens. Okay, so let's see if there's any charge in the battery just to turn it on. No, let's plug it in. Right, okay, so the lights come on there. There we go. Ah, that's not good. Right, that is not good. So basically we've got the motherboard on my one. We know my one works and it's not coming up. So I think it's going to be highly unlikely that I'm going to be able to fix this now, because the fuses are okay. Yes, it can't be the flex cable or anything. That's all been changed. So that says to me there's a problem with the motherboard. But obviously I haven't got anything else connected, and just in case there's some sort of security thing where it doesn't do something, I don't know. It's not going to be that, is it? I mean, I could try connecting up that top ribbon cable there. Let me turn this off. Let me try connecting up the top ribbon cable, just in case it is something to do with that button up the top. That's annoying. Right, let's turn it on again. Right, so if we look at the top, there's nothing there at the moment, but if we look at the top, then which way round does this go? I think it goes that way round, so it should be this button here. No, there's nothing happening at all. Right, okay. Yeah, volume's working. I could try connecting up to the TV just to see if it will output to the TV. Might just give us a little bit more information. And then what I can do is I can put the my motherboard, my good motherboard, into this PSP Go here, the white one, and then see what happens, see if it's all working fine. If it is, and it says 100% that it is the motherboard. Right, okay, let's turn this off. Yeah. Leave that charging for a minute or two. I'm going to get a TV set up and see if we can output it to the TV. Right, okay, so this is the TV output lead. This is just composite, so the yellow, white and red. Just thinking though, this battery in here is not going to not have enough charge, is it, to actually power this, but we'll give it a go. It might work for a few seconds. Right, so I'm going to turn the TV on. And I'm going to go to AV. There we go, that one there. And now let's plug this into here and see what happens. Right, so we're plugged in, let's turn it on, see if we've got enough power. We might have. Right, so there's nothing happening here and there's nothing happening on the TV either. Right, let's go to this button up here, this one here. Now listen, there's no sound here because the sound's coming through the TV, but it's not. Let's unplug this. Right, now let's listen. Right, so it's back here. But when I plug it into here, it's not going to the TV. So that says to me that would it be something to do with maybe a chip, so the thing that does the video output. So I don't believe that this is a backlight issue, I don't believe it's a screen issue. I believe that it is a chip, possibly a chip issue that controls the video, you know, the video out, whether that would be on the TV or the screen here. That's a shame. Right, let's put this. Let's put my good motherboard into the suspected white faulty PSP and then see what happens. Right, okay, so I've got exactly the same connected as this one over here. Actually, I didn't turn this one off. Let me turn this one off. Right, so let's see what happens now. There we go. Yeah, look, it's working. Ah, that's really annoying, so it's definitely a motherboard issue. Yeah. Let's put some volume on this. Yeah, look. Remember, this is my motherboard in here now. Right, okay. What a shame. Really is a shame. Looks nice as well in white. I do actually like it. I'm not sure if I prefer it in white than black. Well, I'm not going to give up just yet, but realistically now, am I going to be able to find the fault? I think it's highly unlikely. If it's not a fuse, then I think really it's going to be impossible for me to work out what's going on. But I'll have a look on Google and stuff and see what's happening. Let's see what happens when I do the video out on this. tell you what I could do. I would be able to work it out. Let me turn this one on. It's kind of pointless. It's sort of pointless doing this really. It's just more out of curiosity. Right, okay, so I'm going to go to the very left, which is the same as going to the very left here. Then I'm going to go to the very bottom, go to the very bottom here, and then I'm going to, well actually let me plug this one into here to make it ready. Alright, so I'm down at the very bottom, and then I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, it's not making a noise now. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, look, 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 look. Did you see that? It came up there. That's interesting. Why? I mean, on my one it says connect an AV cable. It came up there for a second, didn't it? Was that just coincidence, or was it something that I did? Let's unplug this. Obviously it was in a different language. Well, I think let's do that again. Alright, so to the very left, down to the very bottom, then 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then press X, X again. Right, so it didn't come up with anything that time. There, it came up again there for a second. Definitely came up there again for 1 second. Yes, right, okay, it's up on TV. Right, so let me see now. I've got a problem with the language here. Right, I'm gonna have to temporarily change the language. Right. Okay. Right, so I mean it's not at a complete loss, because at least he would be able to play it on the TV. So it's not completely useless. Because there's no games on here, so maybe he's already put it onto a TV to reset it or something. If it hasn't been played in ages, would the games all have been wiped and then you'd have to download them again possibly? Not sure. Right, it's definitely working there though. So now what happens if I press this button here? Yeah, right, okay. Oh, so you can just hold that button down to get into it. But it definitely flashed up here for a second or two, didn't it? So why? Did my finger short across something at the back here that made it do that? I'm just going to mess around with this for a while just to see if I can work anything out. Oh, look, 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 it's here. It's come back on. Right, what did I do? What did I do to make that come back on? Oh, that's annoying. I was just pressing everything and I wasn't facing it. I turned it around and it was just back on then. No, it's gone again. Right, okay. Oh, here, here, here. Back, back, back. I think it was this side here that I did. There, it's gone. Right, let me put pressure. There. It's when I put pressure here, it's coming back on. Why? I hope it's not going to be one of those ones where I don't get to find out what the fault is. You know, it's just works sometimes and not other times. But definitely getting somewhere, aren't we? See if it works without the charger. Yes, it does. Oh, every time I press this up at the top it's going off. You know, this button here to change the brightness. Let me just do the same on this one here. See if this flickers every time. No, it doesn't. Look. See, I can press this one and can you see it's just changing the brightness, but it's not flicking on and off. Yet when I do this one, that's all falling apart. But look, when I do this one, no, it's not. No. So there's obviously a bad connection somewhere. Saying about the connection up here, this is my one here anyway, it's not this one. The only thing in here is the motherboard. It's gone again, look. What is it? Something down here. I'm just going to try to press it from this way. Okay, it's this. It's when I'm pressing this chip here. I wonder if this is the chip to do with the video out. I think I'm going to get the macro on the camera and I'm going to look in and see what happens in this bottom corner when I do that. Maybe one of the pins on that chip or something are loose. It's definitely hit and miss though. Right, well, you know, good news, we are getting there. The problem is it'd be different if I could just tap something and it was happening all the time, but I really don't know what I'm moving to do this because the screen's facing the wrong way. Unless I get a mirror. So it's gone now. Now it's back. Gone. Right, let's try to keep it gone. Let me just hit the chip. Right, look, it came back on there. But because when I hit the chip, I'm moving everything, you see. Let's try to make it go again. I reckon this might have been dropped, possibly. Which happens, it's a handheld. Right, I feel like I'm not really getting anywhere with just wobbling it, so I think I'm going to turn it off and I'm going to have a look closely at this board here, because it might be on the other side of the board. It might not be this side, it might be the other side. So let's unplug this, turn it off, and have a closer look at the board. Right, okay, so what I've done is I've put the shield in on all the other ones because I don't believe it's anything to do with these ones. For this one I just had to kind of bend it back into place and it's clipped on nicely again. I think the problem is definitely located in this area here. I don't know whether it's on this side of the board or this side of the board, but it just seems to be when I'm moving it around here that it seems to work. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to clean it all with IPA cleaner, just in case it is some kind of bad contact or something. I mean, I really don't think it is that, because everything looks so clean and tidy. It doesn't look like there's any corrosion, but I don't think it's going to do any harm. So I'm going to do that just because. I'm sure it's not going to make any difference at all, but it's only going to take a few minutes, and you never know. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to let that all evaporate off. Then when it has, I'm going to put the battery back in, put the screen back on, and I'm just going to keep doing small movements, see if I can pinpoint where this problem's coming from. And then when I find it, if I find it, then I'll get back to the video. Okay, so I've been messing around with this for a while. I'm not really getting anywhere. I think the problem is with this big chip here, and I think it's a BGA chip, a ball grid array, which is basically a chip with a load of solder balls on the bottom, and each one of them will be a connection. So if you look now, I've got the screen on, but all I have to do is give it a bit of a wobble here and it goes off. Now watch this. If I just get something plastic and if I just kind of hit the chip here, can you see it comes back on? So there's not really anything I can do about that. I haven't got any reball equipment, and even if you were to give it to somebody who had that sort of equipment, see it's gone off again, it's not worth it. You're going to end up paying more money than the thing's worth, especially that it doesn't look like there's any sort of games on here. So there you go, see it's back on again. So now I know this is a bit drastic, but the thing is, it's so hit and miss. When you just play around with it, sometimes it will turn on, sometimes it won't. I'm sure it is to do with this chip down here. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to apply a little bit of heat to it. The problem is there's a very real chance that I'm going to break it. So I'm not going to go crazy with the heat. I'm just going to get my heat gun, I'm just going to heat up this side of the board here, apply a bit more heat to this area here and to the underside of it, just to see. I mean, it needs to be up to a certain temperature, you know, I need to get it up to about 220, 230, 240, 250, that sort of heat, 250 degrees C, to really get any of the solder to flow. What I'm more tempted to do, I'm going to apply a bit of heat just because, but what I'm more tempted to do is pad this thing out here with a few layers of tape, so when it's clipped back on it might put more pressure on, and then when it's all together, if a bit more pressure can be applied to the chip, then you see it might make that broken solder just connect up again. I don't think it's going to be a lasting repair. I mean, I'm gonna do it, and then obviously I will tell my findings to Tex, and it's up to him. He might prefer the 30 quid. I'm happy to have this for 30 quid because I can see that really, apart from the motherboard, the rest is going to be fine. So it's definitely worth £30 to me. But he might prefer to have the £30 that he can put towards a new one for £50 or £55. In which case, then that's not going to be, you know, it's not going to be happening here. I don't think this is going to be a lasting repair. Unfortunately, if it was a fuse, I would have been able to fix it. But when it comes to one of these chips that I'm pretty sure is a BGA chip, then I'm not going to be able to fix that. Let me just show you the chip. So let's turn this off. Hold on. Right, okay, so basically from what I can see, it's this one here, and if you have a look, I can't actually see any, there's not many places where you can see legs on it, but if you look in this part here, have a look in here, you can't actually see any legs coming out of it. So I'm not sure, maybe it's just got contacts all around the edge, I don't know, or maybe there's solder balls all over this. In fact, what I could do is, because I know nothing about the PSP Go, maybe this is the main chip in there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to actually go on to maybe an iFixit website or something and see if I can find out what this chip actually does. Right, okay, I couldn't really get any information on it. I know what it is, but I don't actually know what it does. But if you have a look here, it's this one here, isn't it? So it says Sony Computer Entertainment, and it just says here, the first picture includes, and it just says what it is. So I wonder if this is the main chip in it or not. I don't know. if this is the brains behind it all. Right, do you know, I'm really unsure what to do. I'll tell you why. If this was my one, I would apply heat to this. I would apply some flux around here, I'd apply some heat just to see. But it's not my one, is it? So I feel uncomfortable heating it up because the temperature I'm going to have to get it to try to get the solder to reflow underneath it, I reckon I'll probably end up burning the chip out, and that's not what I want to do. And it doesn't make a difference. I've been wiggling everything else and it's not happening. It's only when I wiggle this, as far as I can see. So I think I'm really unsure what to do on this one. See, if it was mine, I'd definitely heat it up, but it's not. And I don't know whether to just try to apply, because look, I can even pack in some pieces underneath this bit here, and that might be enough to make it work. You never know. It might be enough to make it work. I really don't know what to do. Do you know what I think I'm going to do? I think the sensible thing to begin with would be to try to pack some pieces under here to put some more downward pressure on, because this cage here is all soldered on. So if I put little bits off, I don't know, little bits of shim under here. I'm not sure what to use yet. I'm going to see if I've got any thin plastic or something, and then if I force this back on, by the time it all goes back together, that might be enough to put pressure on it. I think what's probably happened here is, if you have a look, it looks like this has been possibly dropped and scraped along the place, and I think these solder joints here have just gone. That's my uneducated guess on it. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to see if I can find something to ram under here to apply some downward pressure. Just like, you know, when you're working with the an Xbox or a PlayStation, there's like clamps to put pressure on the chip. Well, on here there's no pressure on the chip, is there? So that's what I'm going to try and mimic. Okay, so I've got an idea. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put these thermal pads in there, and then hopefully they will kind of crush down, but not completely, and they might then put a bit of pressure on it, and as well, you never know, might help with the heat a little bit. So let's unplug the charger, and I'm going to try to somehow ease these under here. Right, I'm really going to try to pack it in here, because this is where it seems to need the biggest press in. Let's see if it makes any difference at all. You can see what I've done there. So let's get this shield. There's probably too much in here, but let's see if I can try to get it to clip back on. Yeah, right, okay. So I'm just going to turn it on temporarily, just to see if the screen comes on now. Yes, it does. Right, okay, so I can now turn this off. I'm going to put it back together, put it back into the white one, and then see if it works, shake it around the place and see what happens with it. Okay, so we've put it back together. I haven't put my one back together yet, but let's see what happens. Yay! So that's it. Alright, okay, let's see what happens. Happy New Year. That's nice, isn't it? Right, okay. So now let's be a bit abusive to it and let's see what happens. Well, you never know. It might last. I haven't got confidence in it, but I don't know. Annoyingly, I can't check any games on it. Let me put my one back together. we'll leave that one there just to see if it does its thing. Okay, so as you can see, my one's all working again now. It was a bit annoying, I had to take it apart because I forgot to put in the D-pad. So it took me quite a while to actually get this one back together again. But yeah, this is all fine. Right, let's show you this one here. So it's been charging up for a while now. I can see the light there. Goes to green. Plugs it in there. And also up here as well. You can see that it's charging here. So let's just try a few little things. Let's check out the analog stick. So we're going to go to internet search. Actually, get off that a minute. Go to internet browser, that's it. Yeah, I can see now that the analog stick's working fine. Yeah. Well, and I just want to check this Wi-Fi thing because I was a bit unsure about that earlier. So we're going to go to game sharing, and yeah, there you go. You can see it's come on there. And if I was to turn that off, it goes off. That's fine. Yeah, definitely working. Right. Okay. So yeah, I mean, so far it appears to be okay, but I think it's about time now we need to get a little bit rough with this, just obviously if I'm posting this back to the Netherlands it's going to be shaking about all over the place, so let's kind of mimic that just to see if the screen goes off. Alright, I'm going to bend it in the corner here because that's where we were having problems before. Right, that's all okay at the moment. Different brightness. Yeah, that's not knocking it out. Let's plug it back onto the TV, see if we can get that working. Right, so we're going to hold down this button up here. Here we go. Excellent. So I mean, even if it was to go again, you've still got the option just to connect it up to your TV, and once you work out how to, well, in theory now, all you've got to do is hold that down, haven't you? So I'm not sure if the battery was to go completely flat, whether you'd have to go into the settings again. But it's definitely working now, and if I hold that again here, it should come back onto here, which it does. But no sound, so you need to unplug that to get sound back to here. There you go. Volume's working. Yeah. So do you know what? That was a nice one. I'm just not confident it's going to last. I've got a feeling that it's just going to go again because those thermal pads, I wonder whether they're just going to keep squishing out and out and out, and then eventually it will take the pressure off the chip and then it will stop working again. So unfortunately, I can't be confident that this fix is going to work. If I was to advise techs, I would probably say, because I'm happy to pay £30 for this because right now it's working, and to me the screen and the buttons and everything, it would be worth it for £30. But for him, he could add another £20 or £25 and then get one with a, like, I know he's not from the UK, but there's going to be something similar in the Netherlands, to have like CEX, one with a 2-year guarantee for £55. That's not bad at all. I mean, obviously it's completely his decision. If he wants me to post this back to him, I will. It's just that I can't say to him that it's properly fixed. Obviously, if there was some kind of capacitor or something, or a fuse, I mean, it would have been lovely if it was a fuse. I could have changed the fuse, and then if it was all working, I would be confident then that it was going to, you know, keep working. But in this instance here, I'm 95% sure the fault is with that chip, and all I've done is applied pressure to it to make that connection again. But it might only last a day and then it might go again. But right now, as you can see, it's working fine, and even if I'm kind of slamming the lid shut and stuff, it is still working. You know, seems to be okay. So I'm going to email him, give him a choice, and let him decide. Either way, I don't mind. So I'll leave the choice up to him. So tell me what you would do down in the comments. Bearing in mind I haven't got any reball equipment. All I would be doing is heating the chip up with a hot air gun, and I've got a feeling I would probably damage the chip before the solder flows right the way underneath it. That is, if that is a BGA chip. It might not be. It might be one of those, is it QFN, the quad flat something, or QFP, quad flat package, I'm not too sure, but you know, it might be ones that just have the solder pads around the very outside. I don't know whether it's got solder balls over it or just the pads around the outside, but in here there's so little room to work. Personally, I, with my level of skill, wouldn't be confident doing that. But yeah, let me know what you would do if this has happened to you. Put it down in the comments. If you think I've got it wrong and it's something else, again, put it down in the comments. But overall, I enjoyed doing this, especially because it was kind of nice when the screen suddenly livened up by me just fiddling around with the back, just accidentally bending the board slightly caused it to come on. So as you can see, not a lot of skill taken on this one at all. Probably luck, just the fact that I had my hands on the board in the right position when it came back on. But hopefully you enjoyed it. I certainly did. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and please subscribe for more trying to fix videos. Take care. Bye now.